A local high school band marched down one of the most iconic streets on earth.
One area city is asking for help cleaning up its downtown area, and Earth Day plans are being made throughout East Alabama. We'll have these stories and more.
Some big changes coming to the weather this weekend across East Alabama. We'll have the complete forecast details coming up. And in sports, the high school baseball state playoffs are underway. We'll have complete coverage for you for all the teams in East Alabama. EAN News begins now.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by WM Grocery, located in Heflin, Wadowee, Roanoke, and in Piedmont.
Hello, we're glad you can join us. I'm Mike Stedham.
And I'm Katie Edwards.
After a year of rehearsals, planning, and fundraising, the Oxford High School and Middle School Band marched down Main Street, USA at Disney World on Thursday. Also performing today at the Magic Kingdom were members of the school's choir. These local students were taking part in the Disney Imagination Campus program and became honorary Disney cast members for the day.
Both ensembles' performances were supported by professional Disney coordinators, and they were required to audition for the show. After winning a spot in the program, they were required to meet the expectations and discipline required to be a Disney performer. According to Ashley Siskey-Stillwell, Public Information Officer for Oxford City Schools, the ensemble's performances were supported by a professional crew of Disney technicians and a dedicated coordinator. She says the students were able to perform on some of the very same stages where world-class Disney entertainers perform.
Less than a week after work started on the final leg of the Chief Ladiga Trail, another groundbreaking ceremony was held a few miles north for a new plaza on that trail. The Calhoun County Commission and members of the Jacksonville City Council were on hand for this program, which marked the start of construction work for the plaza. The expansion at Chief Ladiga Landing will also feature restroom facilities and a parking lot expansion. The plaza is located at the intersection of the trail with the Alexandria-Jacksonville Highway. It's in the southern part of Jacksonville.
When we come back, volunteers are needed to spruce up Main Street.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Oxford Lumber. Come visit any of our locations in Oxford, Jacksonville, Talladega, and Roanoke.
The Anniston Changers will be teaming up with Main Street Anniston Saturday morning to clean up the city's central business district and decorate it with flowers. The project will start at 8 Saturday morning and last for 3 hours. Volunteers will meet at the Noble Street Park at 11th and Noble to begin their work. This month's project will focus on pressure washing, painting, debris removal, and litter pickup. Workers are asked to bring washers, landscaping tools, work clothes, and gloves. Officials with Main Street Anniston say they are also in need of local gardeners to help plant more than $1,000 worth of downtown flowers during the work project. Refreshments and fellowship will be provided to everyone who volunteers, and people who want to help are asked to register at AnnistonChangers.com.
Meanwhile, the Anniston Changers are still accepting applications for the 5th round of minor home repair grants for residential properties. These will focus on minor repairs that correct a health or a safety hazard, and they may be up to $2,500. Examples of work done in the past include wheelchair ramps, window replacement, minor roof patching, minor plumbing repairs, and minor deck or awning repairs. These grants come from the City of Anniston Fund, established with the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama, to help people living inside the city limits of Anniston. In order to receive one of these grants, residents must meet 3 requirements. They must own a home in Anniston, they must be over 60 years old or mentally or physically disabled, and the home must be used as their primary residence. All applications are due by May 13th at 5 p.m. More information is available by calling the Community Foundation at 256-231-5160, extension 24. And when we return, Earth Day is just around the corner.
For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Waldrop Manufacturing, metal buildings made right here in Calhoun County.
Monday is officially Earth Day, but several local communities have planned special events for this weekend to celebrate everyone's favorite inhabitable planet. The Anniston Museum and Gardens will feature live animal ambassador meet and greet programs Saturday at 11 a.m. and at noon, and a recycled paper bowl workshop will also be held at noon. The Berman Museum will have a spotlight on the past program from 1 to 3, and the Anniston Museum will have a class on nature journaling at 1:30. Saturday is also Scout Day, during which special discounts are being offered to those scouts who are wearing their vests.
Meanwhile, the city of Oxford is asking residents to celebrate Earth Day this year by sending their favorite photos of Oxford to its Facebook page. The best pictures will be featured on the city's website and posted on Facebook on Monday. The photos can be sent to the city on Facebook or emailed to marketing@oxfordal.gov. And we certainly would have had some beautiful weather for some great pictures of any city today.
That's a good point. What about the weekend? Everybody's always asking me, what's the weekend going to be like?
Well, we don't know, but John Holder does. He joins us now in the EAN Weather Center to tell us what we can expect for the weekend. John?
Mike and Katie, the first half of the weekend looking pretty good across East Alabama. The second half of the weekend, not so much. We'll have the complete forecast details straight ahead.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
More sunshine than clouds today across East Alabama, and the temperatures responded to that sunshine accordingly. 83 for the high today, well above the average for this time of year. Look at that morning low this morning, 63, 12 degrees above the average. Record high temperature 90 degrees, the record low 33. The sun rising on your Saturday morning at 6:06, and the sun setting on your Friday night at 7:18. Here's your Friday night weather on your street for Oscar Lane. That's out in Chocowacca. That's out there at Pine Hill Estates. Going to be a pretty good evening, mostly cloudy skies, About a 40% chance of a shower tonight. The low tonight, only 60 degrees. We'll be in the 60s and 70s for most of the evening out in Choccolocca. Coming up on your Saturday, not too bad of a forecast. 1 or 2 showers on Walnut Street in downtown Gadsden. 74 for the high tomorrow. All in all, not a bad day. Chance of rain tomorrow, only about 1 in 3 in any location. As we look ahead to next week, dry weather returns to East Alabama, and we're going to be warming back up on Bob White Street in Oxford, out on the west end of Oxford. We're going to go from the 70s early in the week to the 80s by the middle to latter part of next week across East Alabama. So after a brief flirt maybe with wintertime on Sunday, we're going to go back to springtime. Sunday is the day we want to focus on in our 7-day forecast because the weather is going to change drastically. We are looking at a 90% chance of rain. No storms involved with this, but get ready for passing showers at just about any time. And look at that high temperature. That is not a mistake, folks. 59 for the high on Sunday. You might touch 60 on a backyard thermometer, but again, that's going to be about 15 degrees colder than tomorrow, and that's going to be about 25 degrees colder than today across East Alabama. Doesn't last long. Sunshine returns, dry weather, and warmer temperatures on Monday as we go back into the 70s. We're back in the mid-70s by Tuesday, and then we're up in the upper 70s and back to 80 degrees for most of next week. Right now, Monday through Friday of next week looks like it's going to be totally dry across East Alabama. But Sunday is not going to be a very pleasant day here in the eastern side of the state. What's causing all this? Here's our map here for Sunday. You can see a cold front that is going to push through during the course of the weekend. It will be on the Gulf Coast by Sunday, but behind that front, we're going to see rainfall, and we're going to be looking at severe weather out in Texas. No severe weather for us here in Alabama, but we are going to see some rainfall. It's going to be a cool rain coming up on Sunday afternoon, so it might be one of those days where you want to plan some indoor activities. I'll be back here tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We'll break down your Saturday for you, kind of day part by day part tomorrow. I'll be back here on Sunday and Monday with your breakfast forecast across East Alabama. And we're going to come back with sports, and we're going to talk about the high school baseball state playoffs. That's coming up in sports next.
We live in a world that moves quickly, and while we are able to connect faster than ever through technology, maybe you've noticed that real connection is hard to come by. Parker Memorial Baptist Church offers you a place to connect, a place to learn more about Jesus and the difference He can make in your life, a place to build relationships with like-minded believers, or maybe discover what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. A place to use the gifts and talents God has given you. A place where we love God and we love you. Parker Memorial Baptist Church, 1205 Quintard Avenue, Anniston. Visit our website for details.
John Holder with you with EAN Sports, filling in for Namath Pitts on this Friday evening. You know, in 2024, for the second year in a row, Oxford and Jacksonville will be hosting the Alabama High School Athletic Association State Baseball Playoffs, and the road to Jacksonville and to Oxford begins right now with the state baseball playoffs in classes 1A through 7A all across the state of Alabama. A number of games played yesterday, more games being played today, the possibility of more games even being played tomorrow. Let's break down how our teams in East Alabama fared and how they're faring right now. What's going on with that? We'll begin with the games that were played yesterday. These are first round games in Class 3A. The Piedmont Bulldogs, number 1 ranked team in the state in Class 3A in the final ASWA poll. They shut out Sylvania 8-0 and 17-0. The Bulldogs now 22-11. They will advance to take on the winner of today's matchup between Fayette County and Decatur Heritage. Also, as we look at games from last night in Class 1A, it was Athens Bible, a perennial power in 1A baseball, beating Jacksonville Thunder 7-2 and 12-4 to advance on to the second round in the Class 1A state playoffs. We continue looking at action from yesterday, going back to Class 3A. Walter Welborn, they were swept by Plainview. Plainview wins 11-1 in the first game and 6-2 in game number 2 to knock out Welborn from the Class 3A state baseball playoffs. As we look at two local teams in Class 4A, how they fared, the Etowah Blue Devils and White Plains playing last night over in Attala. Of course, Etowah, the defending state champion in Class 4A, ranked number 4 in this year's final ASWA poll. They swept White Plains very impressively, 11-1 and 12-1, the final scores in those games between Etowah and White Plains in Class 4A from last night. And as we take a look again at a couple of more games from last night, another sweep that seemed to be the theme from last night. This is back in Class 3A action. Westbrook Christian beating Elkmont 7-2 in the first game and then dominating in game number 2, 19-0, as Westbrook will advance to the Class 3A second round in the baseball state playoffs. As we look at more final scores that came in from last night, another doubleheader, Lauderdale County of Rogersville. Closer games here, but the result was still the same. Sweeps, Lauderdale County beating Glencoe. This was up in Rogersville. Lauderdale County wins the first game 5-4, and they win game number 2 by a score of 4-1 to knock Glencoe out of the Class 3A state playoffs. And we take a look at some action from today earlier. These games going on right now. Earlier in the day in Class 1A play, Hubbardville comes into Gadsden. Little bit of an upset here as Hubbardville beat Coosa Christian 2-1 in Gadsden in the first game this afternoon. The second game is taking place right now. If there's a third game, that will be taking place tomorrow once again in Gadsden. Some other games going on today across East Alabama. Donahoe on the road in Remlap taking on the Southeastern Mustangs in Class 2A first round play. And it was Donahoe winning the first game by a score of 4-3. The second game ongoing. Last report we had from over in Remlap, Donahoe was winning that game early on by a score of 1-0. Also today, Oxford playing at home, your defending state champion in Class 6A, and they had an easy time sweeping the A.H. Parker Thundering Herd as they win the first game today in Oxford 16-0, and they win game number 2 17-0. Oxford will now advance to the second round of the Class 6A state playoffs as they'll take on the winner of Huffman and Buckhorn. That series going on at Buckhorn up in Newmarket, taking place this afternoon and this evening. Now, we mentioned there's a lot of games going on across East Alabama today. Many of those are ongoing. If we have splits, we will have if games going on tomorrow on Saturday. Here are the other games involving teams in East Alabama as we look at those games coming up. They're being played today across East Alabama and tonight. Cottonwood playing at Ranburne. This is in the first round of the 2A playoffs. They are playing right now. The if game would be tomorrow at 1 p.m. if there's a split between the Bears and the Bulldogs. Taking a look at other first-round matchups in Class 4A, Munford playing at home against the Geneva Panthers coming from down the Florida line. Again, those games are ongoing tonight. If there is a split, the game tomorrow between Geneva and Munford will be at 12 noon down at Munford at the baseball field. And as we look at North Jackson and Jacksonville, this is another matchup taking place in Class 4A. This game taking place in Jacksonville. Again, these games are being played this evening. If there is a split, then the if game would be tomorrow at 1 p.m., and that would be in Jacksonville. Also, in Class 5A play, Moody playing at Sardis. Sardis, your state runner-up from last year in Class 5A. The if game tomorrow, if there's a split between the Blue Devils and the Lions, that would be at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Also taking place this evening, the Douglas Eagles playing at Alexandria out at Death Valley. If there is a split in this game, the if game would be tomorrow at 12 noon out in Alexandria. And also one more final game. This is also in Class 5A. Southside traveling to Arab to take on the Knights. Those games taking place this evening as well. If there is a split between the Panthers and the Knights, the if game would be tomorrow again at Arab, and that game would be at 1 p.m. So some success for our teams here in East Alabama. Some teams seeing their season come to an end. Some we still may have some splits going on, as we could have baseball going on tomorrow. Of course, Namath will be back with you on Monday to break down all of the action from East Alabama over the weekend and get you ready for the second round of the AHSAA State Baseball Playoffs. That's going to do it for sports.
Thank you for watching us today.
You can find us here on Facebook and YouTube and our website. Just go to the platform of your choice and you can watch our news, sports, and weather content whenever it's convenient for you.
Have a safe weekend. We'll see you back here Monday for your news on your schedule.